Thanksgiving is coming up, and one of the things that I like to do, I go around to every single room where I know I have a fresh arrangement at or a planted arrangement, and I like to see is it time to pull or not. This arrangement definitely is past its prime. I did not go in and clip the stems a second time like I typically would do. Anytime I do an arrangement, after I plant the arrangement up, I come back and I snip, change the water out, and add more preservative. Did not do that because I knew there was going to be another arrangement going in this place. Now, everything in this arrangement is not going to be trash, okay? So our magnolia stems, we'll keep these. All of the magnolia stems are being kept. Everything else will go to the compost bin. Now that everything is cleaned off, I'll move to the next area and I'll show you the new arrangement that we're going to put in its place. Thursday night, we had our very first live ever on the channel. I felt like it was a success. Well, it was a success, but there was some bloopers. So my screen was turned to the side, so everyone had to take their cell phone, turn it over so they would be able to watch the live that we had going on. But for the most part, it was a success. So we did two arrangements right here. We did the arrangement that is behind me right there. Today we are going to put this arrangement in its place. We're also going to pull arrangements that have come to the point to where, hey, it's time to be pulled. And then after we do all of that, we'll start our next project. So let me show you what this arrangement looks like up close, because when the camera cut off, we had to go to the camera that was on my laptop, and it's not a very good camera. So we'll get in so you all can see the juicy details of this beautiful arrangement here. I'm absolutely obsessed. And when we planted the arrangement up, there were some of the roses that were not in pristine shape because this arrangement was not planned for the live. We actually had only planned that arrangement. It was a request to stay on. We went ahead and we just did an impromptu arrangement, and so this is what we put together. So let me show you this arrangement because I absolutely love it, and our roses are sticking up a lot more. I have been doing some hydration throughout the night, and so typically if you have arrangements that are bent over and they're not doing so well, once you go in and hydrate them and continue to hydrate them, they should be standing up the next morning. If they're not, then you go in and give them a cut. If they stand up, continue your slow hydration, and they should be fine once they're 100% rehydrated. So let me show you this arrangement up close, and then we'll get it in its place. Double paper whites, and then we have some white roses here. I absolutely love the play on texture, but one of the things that I do with my tulip bulbs as well as with my daffodils, what I'll do is I'll cinch the edges here where it gives me almost like a variegated paper white, if you will, but this is just bleach due to being exposed to a lot of light. So that was done by design. And then down at the bottom, our roses are absolutely beautiful and amazing. So at the bottom, we tucked in some Spanish moss to accent the container. So that way it breaks the rhythm and the flow up of the green on green. So this is what we're looking like up close, and I absolutely love it. I am 100% obsessed with this, and this to me screams winter. Here's a container that we use. It's a metal container. It's actually very heavy. And you can see where it has a little bit of the rust patina on the feet and on the side. And so when I hydrate my containers, I like to go in. I just use a tray that I typically put my soil blocks in. And from there, I'll just set it inside of the tray and just let it drain out. So as much as the soil can take in the plant, I just go ahead and feed it in. But I do it in a slow method to where it's a slow hydration, if you will. And this is what we look like all the way to the top. Absolutely love it. And another technique to use when you use your moss, especially the English moss and the Spanish moss, I like to give a generous helping, and that way by doing that, what it does is it kind of spills over the pot, if you will, and it doesn't look as neat. It still looks classic, but not as tidy as it should. And I just really feel like when you do it that way, it just kind of adds a lot of character as well as a lot of class. I think we'll go ahead and give this container another watering before we put it down. Just a real light watering, and I mean pinpoint to where nothing should run out of the bottom. So just a little bit of water. That's it. All right, now, so we got a little bit coming out of the bottom, or is that because, is it touching the bottom? Yeah, okay, so it was touching the bottom. So I'm gonna set it off to the side for a second. And I'm gonna dry the bottom off. And this container is heavy, so I'm just gonna tilt it a little bit. All right, now let me show you how we're going to style this. I like to store a lot of my mirrors, and we're going to set this arrangement on top of a mirror versus using a tray. So we'll just pick this one up, and I think I want to go with more of like a muted tone mirror. So I think we'll use this one right here. I feel like this mirror is wide enough for the table here, so we'll go ahead and set it down. All right, I think it's absolutely perfect. Here is a close-up. I love the antique feel of the mirror here, and I feel like it really just draws in the container because you have all of this very ornate detailing in the metal here. I'm absolutely obsessed, which is a total play on our burnt tips or our variegated paper whites here. I am obsessed, and I totally love this. Then with the mirror, I like that when you get up close to the mirror, you can see a reflection of the container here. So again, it gives you another level of depth, and it adds another architectural detail to your arrangement. I absolutely love it. Perfect arrangement for a side table. We'll check in on this container next. So for this container, you can see where the Amaryllis bulbs, that blooms have not lasted, because remember, this was already in full bloom when we changed the arrangement around and we changed out our container and gave our Amaryllis bulbs a completely different look. So we would expect for our Amaryllis bulb to be going over, but the arrangement technically is not done. And let me show you all what it looks like up close, because you'll be able to get a better description of what I'm talking about. Because here's a large bud right here. This is what our blooms look like. You can see they're not as bright and as vibrant as they once were. Now, you can let these stay on there until they look like this or like this. But for me, with the Amaryllis blooms, because I know they're going to be pushing out these buds depending on the size of your bulb. Like, look at that huge bud. So that's going to come up. And it's going to give us the look that we need. So what we'll do, I'll go and grab a bucket and we'll clean this arrangement up real quick. So as close as you can get to the bottom and just snip that on off. We did have some buds still left on the back, but it was just only one bud. And if there's an opportunity, this is what the inside of it looks like. If there's an opportunity for me to have another bud come out, I would rather get the next bud than to hold on to the bloom. So let's clean this up. Anytime that I'm left with the Amaryllis bloom where I have recently come in and I cut everything back, sometimes I'll go ahead and pull the container. But since I know that I have buds coming, we're just going to water this in just to give it a little energy. All right, now let's move on to the next container. And this does get light. We actually can pull it up closer so it can go ahead and bloom out a lot quicker and do what it's going to do. We're going to get these containers where they belong, and then I want to run and go get some more paper whites. We're going to run to the garden center. One of the things I'm going to be looking for is paper whites for sure, and then whatever else I see, I'll go ahead and pick up. But paper whites is #1 on the list. We're going to grab more of these paper whites. We recently just grabbed 10, so I want to grab 10 more in order to complete the look that I'm going for. So this shouldn't take us long. Wow, no, I don't know. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need 5 more. Here's a nice one right here. And one more. Perfect.